good day watchers. I've got another totally different review today. I'm going to call it a review because it's not really a film, but it kind of is. It's a review of Gascoigne. Been watching this tonight, earlier on. What a great documentary. What a great kind of documentary-ish kind of film for football fans. Like I said, it's the great freaking Paul Gascoigne, one of England's most talented footballers ever. Full stop. You don't get players like that in the game now. That's just a fact to me. I'm just like, who's that and who's that? And it's weird, the game's not interesting anymore. When players like Gascoigne, or not, was still playing for either England or for his club, football in those days was more interesting. But now I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, I still like football, but not as much as 20 years ago when I lost it to bit 20-something years ago. So anyway, it's a review of that film. It's a 1 hour 26-minute film, and it's like I said, it's about Gascoigne, one of the England's most talented players. And the film kind of like delves deep in his past and tragedy that's happened in his past when he was a kid. It's quite a sad. Certain parts are quite sad. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting movie. I gotta stop saying more times. It does mean. So anyway, like I said, at the beginning of the film, it starts off. You see him as a kid, young boy, and then later on he joins Newcastle United. As a again, he joins Newcastle United. Of course, in those days he was a talented young player, and because when he was playing for Newcastle, he was playing for his home club because he was born in Gateshead, Newcastle. Of course, he's playing for his home club. Of course, then he, in the late 80s, 1988, then later on he started playing for Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs. But I don't think I actually knew this, but actually, he was going to play for Manchester United, but they went to Tottenham Hotspur instead because they actually bought him. I mean, I didn't even know this. They actually bought him his parents a house and his sister like a sunbed or something. And then it was funny. I just thought, what a great freaking story that is. Just imagine that. So anyway, but yeah, he did really well at Tottenham Hotspur. He's a great player. I mean, I think it cost him like £2.2 million. That's a lot of money in those days. But of course now players cost like £100 million. But to me, as players today don't come close to players like Gascoigne. They get like paid more. They like cost more. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. The thing about Gascoigne though, right, he's one of those players that just comes along, shines, and then all the controversial, backstory and stuff like what happened to in his past was there. But he's drinking and stuff like that, and it does delve deep into that drinking problem. But it's great, the film is very interesting because it's great to freaking see his goals and stuff, the goals that he scored, and some of the goals are just fantastic. He scored absolutely amazing, the free kicks they did, the solo goals that he did, the goal against Scotland in '96. Oh my god, I remember that, man. I still remember seeing that goal. I still remember it. Incredible. It's actually okay, let's just go to the film again, right? So like I said, it goes back to his childhood. See him as a kid playing for Newcastle, and then he goes to Spurs, and of course then he starts playing for England. He gets called up for England in 1990. Which when you watch the interview, when you see him, talking, you see he's very proud of that moment. In playing for England. He looks emotional and stuff in certain parts of the film, and it's fantastic watching that. I remember 1990 vaguely. To me, it wasn't really important to me until I started watching the game because at the time I was only like 10 years old when World Cup 1990. Italian 90, which was fantastic. I remember having a Coca-Cola ball, right? Oh, one of these little balls and World Cup, remember those days? God. Anyway, he played for England in his first World Cup in 1990. And he had a great memorable World Cup for the good reasons and the bad reasons. And the good reasons because of when he set up David Platt with that goal for the free kick, which is a great goal, by the way. Great goal. David Platt scored that goal against Belgium, fantastic. But then the downs with it when he got a yellow card in Germany, and then them going out on penalties, which is sad. But yeah, it's an interesting documentary film. Good, it's a good film, and I like the fact that you see 1990 going the World Cup, but then the penalty shootout, which is quite painful to watch still, because England were a good side in those days with players like Gascoigne, Stuart Pearce, Gary Lineker, Des Walker and players like that in the team. It's just fantastic, and I'm just like, wow. David Platt. Of course, David Platt later on actually managed Nottingham Forest, which he didn't really get far with the team, but yeah. So anyway, like I said, you see him playing for England and stuff, and then of course he goes to. No, actually no. Then when you see him playing for Tottenham, he actually it showed the match between Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and when they face Forest in the final, you see that game, and then he gets an injury back with that tackle. Yeah, that tackle was pretty. Even I was like, Jesus Christ, you know. Of course he wasn't there to lift the FA Cup because he got injured because of it. When they beat Forest, of course, which yeah. So anyway, and that's yeah. So anyway, he gets another injury. He had actually quite a few bad injuries in his career. I mean, I didn't know that actually. He had a few bad leg injuries and stuff. But then when he went to Lazio, of course, in the early 90s, of course. And then he went to Rangers. Of course, at the time when he was playing for Rangers, he was playing for England too. So, and then the Euro '96. Oh my God, that goal, unbelievable! And when they showed the game between Scotland and freaking England, where he scored that absolute amazing goal out the old Wembley Stadium. To me, I prefer the old Wembley Stadium because the new one's just like a big stadium, and that's it. There's no, I don't know, there's no characteristics in it. I do like it, but I prefer the old Wembley Stadium because he had more. He had the two towers and stuff, and it just had character that the original one did. And I miss that old Wembley Stadium. I don't care what anyone says. That original one had character. And then when they should have just kept it. They should have kept it. It's a shame that to knock it down. That's what I can say. What I'll do is I'll knock the new one down. I build the old one again because I prefer the old one. Because now the new one's just got leaks in the freaking roof and stuff. So yeah. So anyway, like I said, it's an interesting film. It's an interesting film. I like the fact that when you see England, Euro '96 was a great year for. I remember, Euro '96. I was kind of like just left school then, and I had diabetes and stuff. And Euro '96 and England versus freaking Switzerland, Scotland, Holland. It was incredible, and that penalty shootout. Oh God. But the moment in Euro '96 that just sticks in your head is when Gascoigne scored that goal. That incredible goal, that was incredible. Even now, that's still probably the greatest Wembley goals of all time, I'd say. Or Jeff Hurd's freaking goal against West Germany in 1966. Great goal, 2 great goals at Wembley. So, but yeah, it was one of the great goals at Wembley Stadium. I mean, I was just like, wow. I remember seeing it, and I still got a. Actually, I recorded that game on VHS, so I've still got it on VHS, but it was live, the game. But yeah, it's an incredible goal. Incredible. Yeah, it is one of the great goals of Wembley Stadium, at Wembley. And I miss that arena. I've never been to Wembley Stadium, but I still love that. That arena was awesome. I don't know, it just had character. It's an interesting film. Like I said, I like seeing the goals. In playing for Tottenham Hotspur, Rangers, Newcastle United, and then find out I didn't know he could have went to Manchester United. I'm not sure how his career would have ended there. I don't know. Like I said, Gascoigne was a great player, and this was a great insight of his career and stuff like that. I see there a lot. You see him at the back there. He's quite young there. Playing for Newcastle United. Like I said, when you're watching me, he looks emotional and stuff, and he looked like he was proud of his career and stuff, and he should be proud of his career. I mean, he looks like he kind of misses it all too, and I think he should get back in the game. I think if he becomes a manager, so that'd be great. Yeah, so there's quite a funny moments in this too, but the stories that he tells, and it's just hilarious. Some of the stuff that he tells, I'm just like, oh, that's funny. It's got some. If you're a football fan, you'll love it. If you're not a football fan, I think you'll still find it quite interesting, some of it. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's good to see him play, see his goals again, like Euro 96, and see some of his goals that he scored from Tottenham Hotspur and and Rangers and Lazio and teams like that. Players like ex players like and even managers like freaking Mourinho and stuff like that. And you see like his friends like Gary Lineker and stuff like that actually talking about him. Even Wayne Rooney. Of course, he inspired. So yeah, it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I just want to cut this. So anyway, so the rating I'm going to give this called GASCOIGNE is a 4 stars out of 5. Really interesting movie. Really, really interesting. I mean, to me, like I said, my favourite goal of his is Euro 96, I think, when he scored that goal against Scotland. Absolutely amazing goal. And it never gets boring when you see it, because it looks, I mean, sometimes it bugs me. You remember Euro 96, right? We played freaking, we beat Scotland, we beat Holland, we beat Switzerland. No, we got a draw from Switzerland. Then we played Spain, and then we played Spain. Then we played bloody Germany. And then we lost on penalties, and it's still, to be honest, sometimes it still hurts because we was that close to winning something. It was that, and we had such a good team. We had like players like Stuart Pearce, Gascoigne, Alan Shearer, all that in the team. It was incredible. And you look back, you think, God, they could have won that, no doubt. It's just a shame they never won it, because even I was gutted when England didn't win the Euro 96. I was gutted. I was literally gutted when we didn't win. Yeah, so yeah. And that was actually the first time I've actually cried. I went to bed, right, this is embarrassing. I went to bed, right, and I just cried, I was so damn gutted that we went out on penalties. I was just gutted. And that was the last time I actually cried in a football tournament. It was just, I was gutted, I was pissed off. I was genuinely pissed off afterwards. I was so gutted. I went to bed crying. Like I said, we had a good team. We had Gascoigne on those days. So yeah. So like I said, it's the first time I actually cried, and last time I actually cried in a football game. Now I don't care now if we lose. If we lose, we lose, and that's it. So yeah, so 4 out of 5 for Gascoigne. Really interesting film, and it's quite sad too, certain parts. So, yeah. So people, remember to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to put a comment, I don't know, leave anything you want. If you love football, leave a comment. If you don't, then what's your favourite Gaza goal, and what do you think of the film? So people, have a nice day, have a nice evening, and it's only a game. But anyway, see you later, bye.